Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Dr. Greg and Monica's Lifestyle Solutions, this time on training. And Dr. Greg says that he is overdressed, but I guess I just did come from the gym, so might as well stay this way.
You're perfect for our topic today.
Well,
That's true.
one of us has been in the clinic all day, and the
Yes.
other one has been in the gym.
gym.
Speaking of the gym, what we wanted to go over today was how much time is actually optimal at the gym. For some people, they can't get enough of it. They are gym rats and they want to be there the entire time, or 2, 3, 4 hours. And for others of us, it's like, hey, what is the minimum amount of time I need to be in a gym to just be able to make a difference and see some of the changes that I want to see? So how long should I work out at the gym?
A lot of it depends on your purpose, because broadly, do you want general fitness, or do you want some kind of specific goal? Night and day different. That's all of it. Because general fitness is when someone just literally wants to be basically fit enough, basically can use your body as an anti-gravity machine so you're strong enough, have a bit of stamina, a bit of flexibility. No one thing too much, but to be like, okay, that's good. And that's probably even enough to lengthen your lifespan by quite a bit. Others,
Let me say then that, so if that's the case for the beginner, I would recommend no more than about 40 minutes twice a week in the gym, plus maybe 3 times per week a brisk walk as cardio, or 20 to 30 minutes of cardio regardless. If you can't take a brisk walk, get on the treadmill for 20 or 30 minutes, but it's a lot more fun to do it out in the open.
Very true.
Go ahead, you were saying.
Breathing. Yeah, that right there, what Monica just described, that's baseline. That's okay. That will actually be hugely beneficial. The more specific part will be if you want to train for a sport or for a special component, meaning maybe speed or strength or size or stamina or coordination. I'll put it all together. You have sport, or you can train for one or the other and the other. Those are much more intense. Those take more time at the gym. They take a more complex training program. And with that, you can still be brief. 40 minutes of workout that won't be twice a week. It'll be more than that. That could be 3 to 6 days a week. But sometimes those workouts might be as much as an hour and a half. Longer than that's probably overtraining in some way or the other. Competitive, if you're getting in a competitive bodybuilder level, depending on how a person trains, that's literally, it can be for 45 minutes, short, hard, very intense. Some longer rest breaks, that can be 90 minutes, and there's variations a little bit this way or that. But a real common one in that sport might be an hour to 90 minutes, 4 days a week. And there are variations, but that wouldn't be counting your cardio and other things.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, there are times people ask me, how long do you spend in the gym? And during the season that I am competing, it may be 3 hours, but one of those hours, or 1.5 max, would be on the weights that I'm doing. I will add into that, they'll probably be either once or twice a day, up to an hour and 20 minutes divided up in cardio. And then of course there is posing and some of the things that happen behind the scenes, but which are still happening at the gym. So it really, really just depends. But more than about an hour to an hour and a half of an actual weight training workout is too much.
People having said that, you can train if you work into it. So gradually it's workload, you accommodate, but that's over months, if not years, to get to that level. Back to baseline, 40 minutes, 2-3 days a week, add the cardio and a bit of flexibility, could do that in between and so forth. That's a very good baseline fitness.
Now what about, you mentioned it depends on what your purpose is. So if you're training for strength, for example, power lifting, or strongman competitions, or anything where you need to have the strength to build up, that could be different than training for other purposes too.
Each of those is an art form unto itself, because, for example, runners, bodybuilders, powerlifters, or people that lift heavy, their purpose is different. Some people will use higher repetitions, usually you're talking 15 to 20 to 40, to build stamina. If I do a lot of curls at 40 repetitions, then I'll be able to hopefully curl a lot more. Squats or leg presses, higher repetitions, really high repetitions. It builds the stamina and improves the blood supply into the muscles. Might get a little stronger, but that's not really what it's for. On the other end of it, You'll have power lifters who typically, they'll do 6 repetitions, 1 repetition, but they might do a lot of sets. They might go 10 sets of 3, 5 sets of 2, more of that. Sometimes for the strength, they'll do very rapid lifting to recruit nerves. So it gets very complex, but it's lower reps almost always with that. Bodybuilders in between, they kind of cycle it depending on one end to the other. But typically the reps are kind of medium, 8 to 12, then sometimes you'll take it 5 to 15 for special purposes. But what I'm getting at, if you want a specific result, you have to train in a specific way.
Definitely. And one of those training methods too, because there are many different kinds of things, can be, for example, using time under tension, or doing lightweight versus heavyweights, which is some of what you just touched on as well. And that's where I, for example, will use both depending on when it is. If I want to build some muscle, that's when I will lift much heavier. For me, I will lower the amount of reps, as you were saying, so that I can get a difference that way. If I'm trying to condition at the same time in building, but also trying to lean out, that's when I'll pull the weight back, I'll go a lot lighter, but I will do those 15 to 20, maybe even 25 reps, feel the burn, which will help grow, but not as much as if I were doing much, much heavier weight. But what that'll do is help with the cutting and the leaning out. Time under tension I find is fantastic as well. And what that is, you know, if you're doing 5 reps, where it takes you 20 seconds to get those 5 reps as opposed to 5 seconds because you're just going up and down, obviously those 20 seconds, that time under tension, that muscle is there, is going to give you a very, very different result in how you are proceeding with your workout.
Yes.
You've used a lot of time under tension.
Yeah, it's a different training effect. A lot of, though, to throw in here, the safest way, but also a good way, it's what bodybuilders say, feeling the muscle contract. And everybody that lifts weights kind of knows that, but each type of athlete, Olympic lifters, that's explosion, that's weight above the head. They feel things and it all just erupts as much as they can do in a fraction of a second. Powerlifting, they're actually, believe it or not, trying to lift the weight quickly. It just doesn't look like it because it's a maximum. But then with bodybuilding, or that kind of thing, which I also find is really helpful, you literally have a mind-body connection where you can feel your muscles working all the time, all the way. It's a different kind of sensitivity. And then you can, it took actually a couple of years. I've lifted weights for many years, but it took more than a year of bodybuilding specific training to even feel what they were even talking about. I thought I knew, but I didn't until I actually did.
You know, and I want to make it clear that when we're talking about this type of training translates to all sorts of other sports, whether that be gymnastics, swimming, running, boxing. We're just clumping it into a more bodybuilding type workout, a more powerlifting type workout, but each of those are going to help you in those other, to complement those other specific sports.
Yes.
So I think a great thing that I want to leave for next time to go into more depth is cardio. How much cardio should I do, whether fasted or not? But once again, I will leave you with, you know, cardio is different. What are you trying to accomplish? Once again, where do you want your body to be? And depending on that is how much or how little cardio you're going to do. And I will say that whether you are in season for whatever you're doing or off, change your cardio around. What you're used to doing for several months may not work the same if you continue doing that. So if you're used to being on a treadmill for several months out of the year, when you're not in season, you might want to go swim, you might want to go run, you might want to do something completely different, so that once you get back into that season, you can use that cardio that's worked well for you.
That's it.
So with that, we'll leave you. We've got lots more, but we'll leave that for another topic another time. See you next time.
See you next time.